to Trumpet of God Ministries, a voice of distinction, led by visionary leader Apostle Charlene Glover, teaching the uncompromising, transforming, life-giving Word of God, equipping you with apostolic truth, prophetic insight, and progressive revelation. Your trusted source when truth matters.
Kingdom greetings. Welcome to Trumpet of God Ministries, Voice of Distinction. I'm Charlene Glover, the Apostolic Visionary Leader, and I'm delighted to have you come back and join us for our Black History program. If this is your first time visiting with us virtually, thank you. We welcome you, and we certainly know that you're going to enjoy the Black History teaching, presentation, and sharing tonight. By now, most of you know that we have dedicated our Wednesday night live podcast to Black history to recognize and celebrate Black leaders, legends, and legacies. So this is our third episode in the Black History series, and we have two additional notable African-American Black history makers that we're going to highlight in this particular episode. I want to share a couple of interesting facts before we go into our program, and that is, do you know that Black history was first proposed by Black educators and the Black United Students of Kent State University of Ohio in February 1969. The first celebration of Black History Month took place at Kent State in January through February 28, 1970. This year, 2022, is the 52nd Black History Month celebration in the United States. And in 1976, President Gerald Ford recognized Black history during the 1976 United States bicentennial. So that is the 46th. This is a 46 year from 1976 till now. So although we are a part of American history for many more years than that, we have not been celebrating and recognizing Black American history makers. So in the first episode, we had Gen Zs. The second episode, we had Gen Z, emerging leaders, Generation Z, meaning they're beyond the millennials. And now this evening, we have with us two lovely Gen Z ladies who are accompanying me. And I've known both of them for about 10 years. They, along with their mother, have been a part of Trumpet of God Ministries. And these are two, I believe, potentially Black history makers in the future. So let me pray, and then we're going to introduce them and move into our podcast. Father, you are Lord and you are God. Everything you do is good, it's perfect, and it works for our good. So I pray now that as we make these presentations of Black Americans who have made history and made life better for us, that people would hear, learn, be educated, and also be challenged to recognize that we are as significant and our contributions have been as significant as any other people. Lord, help us to come to the reality and the understanding that all people should be respected for their culture, their customs, and their contributions, and that we're all equal in your sight. Help us to present in such a way that the heart is stirred, the mind is intrigued, and we are committed to grow together in these United States of America and abroad. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. Okay, so today I have with me two lovely guests, Miss Aviana and her younger sister, Jada. Each will educate you on two very notable Black history makers this evening. And so Aviana and Jada, welcome. Thank you for joining me and helping me present Black History Month. So why don't you both say hello, and then Aviana, I'm going to have you introduce yourself.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome.
Thank you for having us.
It's good to have you here. Aviana, why don't you introduce yourself and tell everybody a little bit about who you are, since you're going to be our very first presenter.
Yes, ma'am. Hi, my name is Aviana. I'm 22 years old. I'll be 23 next month. Currently, I'm a senior at Albany State University, and I am excitedly anticipating my completion after the summer semester. During my college career, I changed my major from business administration to organization leadership. After I graduate, I look forward to entering the career field as an entrepreneur and working on projects that will be beneficial for the public. But my first step is to become a flight attendant to help me gain global exposure, culture knowledge, and social skills in my development as a professional businesswoman, unless God has something different planned out for me.
Well, Aviana, it sounds like you are planning an adventurous career. And I guess that's probably coming from your creative artistic side because you're a very creative and artistic young lady. So perhaps that's some of your inspiration as well. Why don't you tell us about the Black legendary leader that you have chosen to highlight today?
I chose to highlight Madam C.J. Walker, also known as Sarah Breedlove. She was born in 1867. Her parents were sharecroppers enslaved in Delta, Louisiana, but she was born free as the fifth child in her family due to the Emancipation Proclamation. Around the early age of 6 or 7, both her parents died, leaving her as an orphan to live with her older sister, where they worked to pick cottons in the field. At the age of 14, she married Moses Williams to escape her abusive brother in law. But at age 22, she became a widow. In 1904, declining into the state of poverty, she sought out a plan to move to St. Louis, Missouri, to work as a cook and laundress, where she had 4 brothers that worked as barbers. She joined the AME Church, where she met Black leaders whose education and success inspired her. In 1906, Sarah Breedlove married Charles Joseph Walker, a newspaper advertising salesman she had known in St. Louis, Missouri. She had one daughter, and her name was Alelia Walker. So,
Excellent.
yes, ma'am. Due to intense changes in her life, her finances began to become strained. She began to lose her hair resulting from the hard labor. She recognized that she had to produce a new plan, which resulted in her efforts to create a new title for herself, naming herself Madam C.J. Walker. With a shift in mindset, a sense of motivation, and determination, she was led to create a revised version of hair care products and straighteners that are known as Madam Walker's Wonderful Hair Grower, based on the original brand idea of the Great Wonderful Hair Grower by Annie Turbo Malone. Madam C.J. Walker invented the world's first hair straightening formula in the hot comb. As women's history, Walker contributed to the YMCA, covered tuitions for numerous students at Washington Tuskegee Institute, and became active in the anti-lynching movement, donating $5,000 to the NAACP efforts.
Why don't you tell us about some of her recognitions? There are a few significant recognitions that she has had.
Yes, here's a few of her significant recognitions. On May 12, 2018, Mrs. Walker was awarded the IUPUI Chancellor's Medallion during the commencement, Chancellor and Provost Medallion in 2018 in Indiana. The Chancellor's Medallion is awarded to people of vision, character, high achievement, and distinguished service to the university and community. It is the highest honor the Chancellors can bestow, and it was accepted by her great-great-granddaughter, Aaliyah Bundles.
Now that's amazing. Her great granddaughter in 2018 received her award. That is awesome.
Yes. Her biggest success is her building called the Walker Building, which is presently considered to be the most influential registered place as a National Historic Landmark, as well as well-known African American Culture Center. Madam C.J. Walker was an African American entrepreneur, donor, and political and social activist. She was recorded as the first female self-made millionaire in America in the Guinness World Records, thanks to her homemade line of hair care products.
Awesome. She sold some hair care products, huh? To become
Yes.
a millionaire in that day.
Yes.
Aviana, tell us what inspires you about Madam C.J. Walker's life.
Well, back in my elementary school days, I remember doing a project on her in history class. Our assignment was to elaborate on our research based on Black successful inventors back in history. I remember choosing Madam C.J. Walker as my person and was so fascinated when I discovered that she made hair products that I use now as a Black female. Now, as we are coming to Black History Month, I am going back to that moment of fascination and looking deeper into the reason why I chose her and to realize what else influenced me about her.
So, what are some of those things that influenced you? What are some of the character traits that influenced you?
Well, she was a Black woman who was strong, ambitious in an era that was full of obstacles and oppressions and hardships. I believe that it is amazing, especially in the 1900s. This shows me that being successful in business is not limited to one's gender or race. And if I fully acknowledge and use my God given skills, gifts, and talents and push through those challenges and obstacles that she went through and accomplish and never give up, then my ideas can become a reality as well, especially if I stay focused and become more diligent. I believe a dream plus action equals dream come true.
Awesome. Sounds like you got a good formula. Let's do a quick review, overview of Madam C.J. Walker's life as narrated by her great-great-granddaughter, Leah Bundles.
When Madam Walker started her company in 1906, there were very few women who were in business. She and Helena Rubinstein and Elizabeth Arden were women who were all in the same boat. They were trying to develop an industry. People didn't even take them seriously. She traveled door to door, town to town, teaching individuals in churches and in people's parlors and wherever she could. And she could see that ultimately it really wasn't as much about the hair care product, though that was important in an era when women didn't have access to those products, but it also was very much about empowering women and about helping women become economically independent. So the more she trained women and the more she taught them to train other women, she was developing a national and really international network of women who were Walker agents. Those women could see not only were they able to transform themselves, but they also were able to make money that they could contribute to their churches, to pay tuition for their children to go to school, to buy homes. And this then became really the goal. When I look at her life, I think it's fabulous that she became a millionaire. Stunning that she became a millionaire. But for me, the more lasting legacy is that she empowered people and that she used her money to make a difference in her community and to show other people their ability to make a difference in their communities.
To hear her life narrated by her great-great-granddaughter. I think you have a quote by Madam C.J. Walker that's, I think, very powerful and still very relevant for today.
Yes, here's a quote from Mrs. Walker. I am a woman who came from the cotton fields of the South. From there, I was promoted to the wash tub. From there, I was promoted to the cook kitchen. And from there, I promoted myself into the business of manufacturing hair goods and preparation. I have built my own factory on my own ground. I got my start by giving myself a start.
Awesome. Isn't that so appropriate today that many times people are waiting on someone to give them a chance or an opportunity? And she said, listen, I worked and did what I needed to do and then I decided I've got gifts and talents and I can make a contribution just from elevating my own self. So that's excellent. And it started with how she was thinking and her mindset. So, Aviana, if we were talking about you, like we are this evening about Madam C.J. Walker, 30, 40 years from now, what would we be saying? What would be your contribution to American Black history as a history maker?
Well, my contribution in society will be to build opportunities for advancements and changing individuals' lives while demonstrating God's love with the heart of a servant. I want my life to be viewed as someone who is selfless and finds satisfaction in helping others. Not only can this be my legacy, but this can be anybody's legacy. Just like me, we all have potential. In the same way, God sees us all with that same potential. We are all seen as a block of wood waiting to be sculpted into a masterpiece, to be game changers, to be developers, instructors, builders, inventors, and so much more. We can accomplish anything, along with every resource and every tool that was given to us by God Himself from the beginning. So it's okay to create something new because inside all of us, we are all undiscovered, hard workers, influencers, passionate, and faith filled people. Let us all use what we're gifted and now allow it to wither away, coming together on the journey of discovery and using the tools given to us to make something new, something different, and something even better here on earth.
Oh, that is awesome. Well, that is a powerful legacy statement, and I'm holding you to it. So I expect in the next 20 plus years, we're going to be looking at your legacy statement and saying, this is that young woman of God that's emerging as a history maker and a world changer. So thank you so much for being a part of our Black History podcast and for your excellent selection of Madam C.J. Walker. That is just so timely and appropriate and inspiring. So thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent job. Now let me introduce our next guest, Miss Jada. Jada, why don't you say hello to our audience and introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Jada. I'm 12 years old and in 6th grade. I'm in my school's orchestra where I play the cello and I also play basketball. My family and I have been attending Trumpet of God Ministries for ever since I was 2 years old.
So about 10 years, it seems, huh?
My goal is to play for the WNBA, travel the world, and to be an inventor. I'm excited to tell you why Black history is important to me and to talk about my Black history legend, Harriet Tubman.
Okay.
Black history is important because so many great Black leaders paid the price for the freedoms and rights we have today.
Well, Jada, why don't you tell us about some of the awe-inspiring and courageous things that Miss Harriet Tubman did in her significance as a American Black history legend?
Okay. Harriet Tubman was born in 1822, enslaved under the name Arminta Ross in Dorchester County, Maryland. Her mother gave her the nickname Minty. She was one of her children. When her slave owners threatened to kill her in 1849, as they had sold 2 of her sisters, she decided to take matters into her own hands and escape. Before leaving, she adopted her mother's first name and her husband John Tupman's last name. Harriet, along with others, escaped the Maryland plantation with the help of the Underground Railroad and traveled 90 miles to Pennsylvania, a free state, under her new identity. Harriet Tubman was an American abolitionist and political advocate and a highly respected American hero. Miss Tupman was recognized as one of the most courageous and determined freedom fighters in U.S. history. She rose from a childhood of brutal abuse by slaveholders to emancipate herself, and she risked her life to liberate others. Harriet was one of the most courageous. Harriet made at least 13 missions to rescue approximately 70 slaves, including her family and friends. She used the network of anti-slavery activists and safe houses to rescue slaves.
Okay, well, Jada, that is very interesting. And she was indeed an unusually courageous woman. Ms. Tupman also became well known as the conductor for the Underground Railroad. And so, why don't you tell us some of her other great achievements?
Well, her bravery and activism did not end there. She was active in the abolitionist movement and served the Union Army in various capacities during the Civil War. After the war, she fought for women's suffrage, raised money to build schools for newly freed people, known as freedmen's schools, during the Reconstruction era, and donated her home for the care of the ill and elderly. She lived a life committed to freedom and dignity for all people. Miss Tupman died in March 1913 at 91 years old.
Okay.
Unfortunately, during her lifetime, she did not receive any formal awards or recognition for her incredible courage and bravery in freeing others from slavery. But in celebration of her 200th birthday this year, 2022, Miss Harriet Tubman's work will be recognized with multiple honors to include two proposed namesake national parks, Maryland State Byway, and a state park located where she once worked as a slave. As a
Excellent.
matter of fact, a historical marker near what is believed to be Miss Harriet Tubman's birthplace reads, "The Moses of her people, Harriet Tubman of the Buck District found freedom for herself and some 300 other slaves whom she led north. In the Civil War, she served the Union Army as a nurse, scout, and spy."
Now, she was a powerful, powerful woman in that day with so many obstacles and so many challenges that she faced, but she was internally courageous.
Yes. Miss Tubman is remembered for her quote, "I never ran my train off the track, and I never lost a passenger."
Awesome. Well, that is a really interesting presentation and very, very inspiring. Jada, how did Miss Harriet Tubman avoid being captured during her missions when, they didn't have the securities and the communication systems and the transportation systems? So how did she avoid being captured during the time she was freeing other slaves?
Well, she knew which authorities were easy to bribe. She knew how to communicate and gather intelligence without being caught. For example, she would sing certain songs or mimic an owl to signify when it was time to escape or when it was too dangerous to come out of hiding.
She was skilled. She was skilled, huh?
Yes.
And pretty crafty. What motivated Miss Tupman to put her life in danger to lead slaves to freedom? Because obviously she had to know that if she'd gotten caught, they would have killed her. So, what was her motivation?
She wanted to tell people what freedom was like, and she didn't want them to die an enslaved person. Miss Tupman continued to seek new ways to fight slavery throughout her lifetime.
Oh, wow. So she never stopped seeking to help people be free. And you know what I believe, Jada, that freedom starts within you. And the freer you are within your heart, and as you see yourself as a person that should not be oppressed or bound or held back, you don't come to freedom from without first. You come to freedom by how you see yourself and how you see the world. And then you are committed not only to your personal freedom, but you want to help others. So tell me, how has Miss Harriet Tubman's courageous life story inspired you to be a change maker or a history maker in society?
Well, I plan to contribute to society by learning about my peers and teaching my peers. Black history is an important part of the American story, and I believe everyone should increase their knowledge about what has happened and get involved to make things better.
Great, great. So you're looking forward to getting involved and you're going to share with your peers. For instance, what are some of the things that you've learned about Miss Harriet Tubman that you would share with your peers? Say if you had a chance to talk to your class this month, what would you say to them that would help them see how important not just Miss Harriet Tubman's life was, although she was very important to our society and to our American history, but what is it that we could do today that can make our lives impactful for everybody else? What would you say to your peers to get them to see the importance of Miss Harriet Tubman's life, but also getting involved?
Well, I would tell them about her and who she was and how important she was. And I think that we can help society by protesting like for new things and better things for African Americans, and whenever like political people try and make like laws that will decrease our rights,
Oppressed. Mm-hmm.
yeah, that we should fight against it, because so we can have rights as every other person.
That's great. Wow, that's powerful insight for a 12-year-old. And I do agree with you. As I started out with the interesting Black history fact, Black history was initially proposed by educators. And I think that why don't we bring Aviana back as we're closing out? And I want to make this statement. I believe that we don't have to be subjected to what's going on in society now with what is called revisionist history, where they're removing history facts about Black history, and they're making up stories about how things were done, or trying to keep history facts from being made known. We have to tell our own story. Now, you and I and Aviana understand, as Christians, we're not making Black exclusive, but we're intentionally saying Black is important. Is that right? Because we
Yes.
are part of the human race that God created. All of us were created with purpose, in the image and likeness of God, and with purpose. So because of that, we don't have to wait for someone to create a course for us. Do what we're doing, right? You can tell your peers that. Let's go search out the information. Let's talk around the table with our families. Let's do those things that will grow us in the knowledge and understanding and the contributions of our heritage, African Americans, Black people, and then let's share that, not in a way that would be offensive to other people, but a way that would engage them, to help them know something about African Americans that they've probably never heard before. You agree? Great.
Yes.
So you guys have done an outstanding job. I mean, your choices of notable Black leaders who are legendary in their contributions to the world, and in particularly to the United States. You've done an outstanding job. I have been illuminated. I believe the audience has been educated. And Madam C.J. Walker and Harriet Tubman will live in infamy as far as their contributions to our society and to American history, and in particularly for the African American community. So to our audience, we are certainly glad to have you participate and join us for Black History Month. And I hope, and I know that my guests hope, that you have been educated, illuminated, inspired, and that you are also feeling that call to action, to get involved, to do something, to be a history maker right in the space that you're in right now. So thank you for joining us. Aviana, thank you for excellent presentation. Jada, thank you for a great job. You've been listening to Trumpet of God Ministries, Voice of Distinction, your trusted source when truth matters. Join us next week for more insights about Black history leaders, legends, and legacies. God bless. Thank you.